AEW on TNT's debut show sold out in 3 hours. Plus, we talk about Cody Rhodes Fire Shots again at WWE. It all comes up next on the Squared Circle Psychobabble. Hello and welcome to the Squared Circle Psychobabble. My name is Michael Valenti. This is Ralph Valenti. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications as we're trying to hit 10,000 YouTube subscribers before All Elite Wrestling's All Out. So, Ralph, I personally did not think it was going to happen just because the arena was one of the bigger arenas in the country, seating about 23,000 seats. Now, I understand that the entrance ramp blocks off a lot of those seats, but still, nonetheless, a lot of seats to sell. But October 2nd, Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C., it will be a sold-out crowd.
Yep.
How huge is this, not just for AEW, but for the entire wrestling industry?
Oh, it's certainly amazing, and as they continue to go on with this whole movement and that they continue to gain traction with the fans, whether it's a completely new demographic that they're trying to attract or just fans who are interested that used to watch wrestling, these fans are getting behind whatever these guys are throwing out, at least right now. So. Yeah, I agree with you. I was definitely surprised because this was one of the bigger shows that they're going to be putting on. It is going to be a night in wrestling history because really we'll find out what's going to happen with AEW further down the road, whether they're going to be here in 10, 20, 50 years from now. But things are certainly looking good right now, and whatever they're doing, it's certainly working because fans are into it.
Now, it obviously is a huge, huge moment in wrestling history, because when you think about it, who really could sell out an arena like the Capital One Arena that sells, seats 23,000,
Yep.
I believe, somewhere around that area? WWE has been having tough times in certain locations. When it's not really a wrestling town, they've been having trouble selling it. Everybody knows that, back at Tacoma, they couldn't sell stopping grounds. They tarped off half the arena and all that, all that news that happened. Fyter Fest and Fight for the Fallen weren't exactly sellouts, but Las Vegas was, Double or Nothing was, All In was, All Out was. So, this was really AEW's first test at trying to sell out a place that wasn't really a wrestling city. I don't really think of Washington, D.C. as a wrestling city. Yep. When I think wrestling cities, I'm thinking New York, Chicago, Philly, to an extent, Los Angeles,
Parts of Canada.
Obviously the Canadian cities like Toronto, Winnipeg, possibly. I don't really think of Washington, D.C. as a wrestling city. So the fact that they were able to do that on a Wednesday night, that's the other thing too. People were like, well, it's a historical making show. Obviously it's going to sell out quick, but it's on a Wednesday. People work. It's not like you could just plan your whole weekend out and, go to StarCast and do all this other stuff and then book a vacation. You're going on a Wednesday.
Exactly. And it's hard to ask people to travel from other parts of the country. Like with All Out or with All In or any of the pay-per-views that they put on to this point, if somebody wants to plan for that, they can go to Vegas or wherever for the weekend if they're willing to travel. Having it on a Wednesday, you're right. People would have to take days off of work to travel, but yeah, nonetheless, this is definitely exciting news for AEW. It just goes to show you that, for all the naysayers or the doubters who want to talk about the amount of people and fans that they have behind them, it seems like whatever they're doing right now is working. Right. I keep saying we're very much still in the honeymoon stage of AEW where, if this starts happening on a weekly basis, they sell out all the time. Let's not forget WCW at one point was selling out arenas the same way when they were hot and they were fresh.
Of course.
When they go to TV, it's going to be important that they continue to try and sustain that steam that they have right now and continue to grow as they go forward. And the only way they're going to do that, obviously, is to have a compelling TV show and present something that is totally different than WWE, which, as of right now, they're the hot brand. They're what everybody's talking about. Everybody who's been into wrestling or has followed wrestling at one point, it seems like even if they haven't watched it, if you talk to some fans, they at least know about it and they're interested in perhaps, giving it a chance. So that's great news for them if they can kind of continue to get people interested in their product.
Yeah, I totally agree. We were talking to people at your stag party, for those that don't know what a stag party is, it's a fundraiser bachelor party for Ralph's getting married in October, so we were fundraising for that last night. A huge success.
Arrive, raise hell, leave. As
Yes.
Stone Cold would say.
Yes.
Do it a stack.
That's what Ralph did last night. So we were talking to some wrestling fans that are friends of ours, and we were talking, some of them are casual fans that only watch WWE once or twice a month.
Mm-hmm.
You have some that are diehards and some that, were lapsed fans that have stopped watching since the Attitude Era or, a little bit after that, maybe after the Ruthless Aggression Era.
Sure.
We're telling them about All Elite Wrestling and they're excited for it. That was basically the consensus of what we were told from people we were talking to at this party last night. I do have to talk about, though, some of the negatives. I don't want to be the Debbie Downer here, but there were some negatives about how the tickets were sold.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there was a high demand. Everyone's running onto Ticketmaster at the same time. As soon as 12 o'clock Eastern hit, everyone's trying to get tickets. And there were a lot of frustrated people that I saw on Twitter where they were saying, I had my tickets, and then when I went to cash out, something happened. There was a glitch in the program, and they lost them. Or the more popular thing that happened was I would click on the seats that say they were available, and I get the message saying, sorry, another fan beat you to them. You pick another one, same message comes up. Pick another one, message comes up. So you have the Bucks saying, no, there's tickets available. And, of course, they're getting backlash. Cody Rhodes, there's tickets available. He's getting backlash. So, and, there's going to be people out there with their conspiracy theories, but I remember going through the same thing that happened, trying to get takeover tickets in Brooklyn, trying to get WrestleMania tickets at MetLife Stadium. It wasn't as bad for Bridgeport or Hartford for Money in the Bank, but that happens. It's not just this event and, someone trying to screw you out of tickets, which I saw a couple of those tweets where they're like, oh, they're screwing me out of tickets. And
what sense would that even make, considering their whole objective is to sell the tickets?
Yeah, exactly.
Why would they want to retain or keep tickets away from people?
Or if someone actually went into the conspiracy theory saying that, Vince was in on it the whole time and try to,
it's still sold out.
Sold out.
So if Vince was behind that, sorry, mission not accomplished.
Right.
But, either way, I think the consensus was it was a Ticketmaster issue.
Of course.
High demand, a lot of people logging on, trying to get tickets for a big event. There's going to be issues.
Yeah.
There's always going to be technical things that happen. It was unfortunate. Hopefully everybody who was interested in getting tickets was able to get their hands on some. I know me personally, I wasn't intending to purchase tickets, but I was interested just to see what the demand was like. So I went in, I actually selected tickets, and it did give me one of the error messages saying, oh, something happened or there was an error or whatever happened. But nonetheless, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it still did manage to sell out.
Yeah, definitely. And it's obviously a huge, huge thing for AEW to do that on their first show. Now, the question is, they did it once with a 23,000 seat arena. Jericho has gone on to record and saying, we're going to try smaller arenas. Now that you've done it once, do you get confidence and say, all right, we could do Madison Square Garden. We could do Rosemont Horizon, or Allstate Arena. I'm sorry. It used to be called the Rosemont Horizon. Arenas like that, Staples Center in Los Angeles. Do you get confident and try to do those now, or do you still go back to, let's try to get smaller arenas and build? We understand this was the first show, historical making. People are going to buy it because they want to be part of the first one. The second, third, fourth, and move on. Then we slowly build to the next one, which will be Madison Square Garden or Staples Center or Allstate Arena, the bigger arenas. How would you approach it now that they've already done it once?
I mean, if the market and the fan base dictates that they can sell that amount of tickets, they should try to do it.
Yeah.
But again, like I said before, it's going to be very much dictated by the amount of interest that there is in AEW. So when they go to TV, it's very important that they continue to have a fresh product and it doesn't get stale and they keep people interested. As long as they can continue what they're doing now, they should be able to sustain the amount of people that they're able to sell tickets to. But again, once they go to TV, it's going to get much more difficult.
Yes, and I think one of the key things that need to happen with this show is All Out needs to be a full-on success. And I'm not just saying with ticket sales. We already know it's sold out. So that's check off. they need to have a show where people watch it and they think that it was a great show and they can't wait for 6 weeks down the line and it's the first AEW on TNT show. We can't be getting to that point where people watch it and they go, what is this? Why did I invest into this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what Double or Nothing did, it got people intrigued. Now, with All Out, this is the last chance for AEW to get lapsed fans, casual fans, whatever they want to call them, hooked onto AEW before the first show.
Yep.
So if that show is mediocre at best or worse, that's not going to help them.
Right.
That's not going to help them at all. But let's move on. Let's talk about just prior to the tickets going on sale, there was a hype promo video put out by All Elite Wrestling where Cody went on, talked about the revolution that they're doing and joining us and all this other thing, like, you know, really pumping up AEW. He talks about recent comments made by Vince McMahon, on the Q2 call where they, you know, go over their finances for the second quarter of the year. He was asked about going back to the Attitude Era, and he says, we are going to make things a little more edgy, but we're not going to go back to blood and guts. Obviously, people took that as a shot to AEW, and Cody Rhodes felt that way. So he went on this promo and said, you know, with such braggart candor, they talk about blood and guts.
Yeah.
That Cody says, I wonder, before they said it, if they tasted their own words before they spit them out. Everyone who steps foot in the ring has felt blood and guts.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about it, if we don't care, they don't care. Are these fires shot by Cody, or is he just speaking truth?
I definitely think there's some truth to what he's saying. He's more so referring to, see, what Vince McMahon was really referring to is the chair shots and the blood and the thumbtacks and things of that nature.
Yeah.
The actual physical stuff that, you know, some people might be turned off by, or the stuff that you might not be able to do if you're going to TV and the network's not going to let you do certain stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what Vince was kind of referring to, the actual physical blood and guts of it. I think what Cody is referring more so to is the sacrifices the wrestlers make. Like there's a lot of grit and a lot of physical nature to professional wrestling. Yes, it's scripted, but I mean, if you ever hear these interviews with wrestlers, they tell you all the time they hate the word fake, obviously, because there's nothing fake about getting dropped on your head or suplexed or anything like that. So
choreographed is the better word.
Whatever you want to call it.
That's what I tell people. Oh, isn't it fake? No, it's choreographed. It's predetermined.
Sure. And I think Cody's more so referring to the sacrifices and things of that nature, not so much what Vince was talking about. But yeah, and as we get closer to them going to TV, tension's starting to build, I think. And, you know, Vince McMahon obviously acknowledged them. He knows what's going on there. I mean, he must have seen the product or at least heard about it, considering he referred to blood and guts. I mean,
right.
You have to think he's seen it.
Yeah.
Or had people tell him what happened. So, yeah, I just think it's tensions growing between the two companies. We're going to see more of this. I mean, AEW is continuing to poke the bear. I mean, Cody Rhodes this isn't outlandish or anything outside of the box that Cody is doing now.
Right.
He's taken shots at WWE, or at least referred to AEW as a revolution, and that, you know, they're going to be different than the WWE, and it's consistent with what he's been saying all along. And I truly think he believes that they can be the biggest wrestling company in the world, and if they continue to do this, maybe they can.
Right. Now, I do want to ask the question though, because we've seen, I guess both sides have been kind of putting their jabs in. I can't just say that AEW has been the ones poking the bear, because WWE has fired back. Even at Raw Reunion, they did the, oh, we forgot Billy mark that Road Dogg had. You know, Triple H calling it a pissant company.
Yep.
The blood and guts comment, whether or not that was towards AEW or not. So they're both trading shots.
Yes.
At what point do you, as AEW, say, all right, let's stop focusing on WWE, stop making comments and targeting them, and let's just focus on what we're doing? Because if we just focus on what we're doing, we'll succeed. If we try to just make a 2-hour show making fun of them and making shots at them, they're going to get pissed and they're going to run us over.
Well, whether they take shots at WWE openly like they have been, or whether they choose not to, Vince McMahon, if they're going to become the biggest company in the United States or in the world, which AEW I think intends to do, I mean, that's if you're a business, your goal is to make money and to grow. Right. So if you're going to operate within this wrestling world now that Vince McMahon has essentially held a monopoly over in the United States, or actually across the world, they're the biggest company as far as wrestling is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
If you even threaten that, he is going to consider you competition. He's going to do whatever he can to compete against you.
Yes.
You know, we've seen him try to do certain things. He tried to keep the G1, I think the show that they had in New York, I think they tried to keep them out of there.
Right, out of the Garden.
So,
yep.
I mean, those are just little things that he will try to do, and you know, who can blame him for doing that? He's trying to protect his company. So I don't think it really matters. I think there is a fine line. I think right now they're doing the right thing where they're focusing primarily on getting their guys over, making sure that their product is good and selling tickets and everything else. And at the same time, I think comments like this where Cody comes on and openly addresses what Vince says, or they take shots on being the elite, I think in a way that actually attracts some of those lapsed fans, because a lot of what they're saying is a lot of the things that people are disgruntled about with WWE. So it resonates with them.
Right. But I mean, for a while now, I've been kind of saying, especially with the Young Bucks, that they need to stop doing this. Like, if you watch every Being the Elite episode for the last maybe month or month and a half,
yep,
they open almost every episode with some jab at WWE. And I know this is something they've been doing for a long time. It's not something new. I get that. But now when it's one thing when you're just a YouTube channel that a small percentage of the wrestling community sees. But now if you're trying to attract to a bigger audience and they see that, that might turn off people at the same time.
Especially if there are bigger fans of the WWE.
Right.
You know, if you poke fun at what they're doing, you know, they may not
especially,
be interested.
you know, today with society, how people are so sensitive with everything. You know, you get to that point and they might not like it, but at the same time, I always tell people you're not there to please everybody.
Yep.
You know, so if, you know, one person doesn't like it, but 4 people like it, heck, they're going to do what the 4 people like, because that's 4 tickets they can sell as opposed to the one that they're not selling. Yep. So it's interesting. So I guess this whole AEW versus WWE thing, whether fans are creating it, whether, you know, Cody is taking it to his advantage, if Vince is jabbing into it, Triple H, the Road Dogg, whoever, it seems like there's something there. And that first week of October is going to be a fun weekend.
Yes.
Because you have the first show of AEW on TNT. You have the first show of SmackDown on Fox. Who knows what's going to happen with NXT if that jumps onto Fox Sports 1.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting time.
Definitely.
To be a wrestling fan. So let us know in the comments below what you think of this whole situation with Cody Rhodes firing shots at WWE again. And let us know in the comments, too, if you tried getting tickets for the first AEW show and how successful you were. Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to share this video all over social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at SCPB Podcast. Subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. We're trying to hit 10,000 YouTube subscribers before all Elite Wrestling's all out. For Ralph Valenti, my name is Michael Valenti, and thank you for watching the Squared Circle Psychobabble.